Imagine waking up, checking the Apple App Store, and realizing that 235,800 brand new apps were just uploaded. Not in a year, in a single quarter. Para Haikir HUA? Apple's entire multi-billion-dollar review infrastructure completely collapsed. A system designed to handle careful, months-long software development was entirely brought to its knees in the last few weeks. The wait times for app approval went from 24 hours to 30 days. Why? Because human beings aren't writing code anymore. Vibe coding, forget everything you know about software engineering. Forget grinding through syntax errors at 3 a.m. Forget ignoring texts from your girlfriend because you can't figure out why your API root is throwing a 500 error. That era, it's over. We are living through the most massive, aggressive ontological shift in the history of computer science, and it's happening right now in Q2 2026. Shocking but high, seasoned. Veteran developers are calling it a massive productivity scam, while teenagers are building million-dollar apps from their phones. Are you still manually typing out div tags and configuring databases? Because if you are, you're bringing a knife to a laser fight. Let's talk about the absolute chaos of vibe coding, the ecosystem clashes tearing Apple apart, and why the definition of a student is changing forever. Historically, if you wanted to build an app, it was a brutal, procedural exercise. You had to conceptualize architecture and handle memory management. It was a gate-kept industry. You needed deep foundational knowledge, but vibe coding? Vibe coding completely deletes that formal programming layer. Instead of writing logic, you are writing intent. You open an AI agent like Anthropic's Claude Code, Cursor, Replit, or Vibe Code. You type in natural language, give me a full-stack application with a dashboard, secure login routing, and make it look incredibly aesthetic. And the AI just builds it. But here is the critical difference. Here is why it's called vibe coding. When the AI gives you the code, you don't read it. You don't review the structure line by line. You look at the visual output. If a button is misaligned or a database query fails, you don't open the terminal. You just tell the AI, hey, fix it. You are coding purely based on the visual feedback and the aesthetic vibe of the application. How many times have you abandoned a project because setting up the boilerplate took too much energy? Be honest, drop a comment below. This isn't some decade-long evolution. This exploded in about 14 months. It started as an internet meme. On February 6, 2025, Andrei Karpathy tweeted about this. He said developers need to give in to the vibes and forget that the code even exists. People laughed, they thought it was a joke. But by March 2025, Merriam-Webster listed vibe coding as a trending slang expression. Dawson, here is where the story gets absolutely insane. The theoretical debates of 2025 turned into a tangible, systemic crisis in early 2026. Platforms like Vibecode and Replit made app creation frictionless. You didn't even need a Mac. Imagine a graphic designer with zero coding knowledge deploys a native iOS app in an afternoon for a local shop like Ajanta Interiors. Because of this, the App Store saw an 84% surge in submissions. Apple's review team was drowning. And Apple did what Apple does best when its walled garden is threatened. They initiated a ruthless crackdown. On March 26th, they dropped the hammer. They completely removed the massive AI app builder anything from the App Store. Why? Guideline to .5.2. Apple's rule is simple. An app cannot download or run new code after it's been reviewed. But that is exactly what vibe coding is to Apple. This is a terrifying security nightmare. Is Apple protecting users, or are they acting like a monopoly trying to kill a technology? On April 2, 2026, CNBC broadcasted, Apple at 50 is fighting the future of software. This is a global regulatory war, but let's talk about the actual code. Is vibe coding actually good, or are we just generating garbage at the speed of light? 36Kr published a report calling vibe coding a productivity scam. It is a miracle for going from 0 to 0.5, but the rest, it falls apart. The LLM loses context, hallucinated a variable, and suddenly your entire backend routing breaks, and you have no idea how to fix it. Senior developers are burning out. The global software repository is literally degrading in quality as we enter an echo chamber of mediocrity. We felt this shift at Vibeverse. Look at a project built during a 12-hour hackathon by a team with zero formal experience. In under 12 hours, they bridged the gap from a wild idea to a functional app. That is the power of intention over syntax. So, where do we go from here? Dawson, the smartest engineers are moving from vibe coding to agentic orchestration. You are acting as the CEO of a localized team of AI agents. If your only skill is typing out syntax, you are obsolete. The software engineer of the future is an architect. You need to understand the structure. The only irreplaceable asset is architectural understanding. Are you going to complain about the technical debt, or are you going to learn how to orchestrate the chaos? Subscribe to stay ahead. Keep building, keep vibing.